today I actually had a custom order for a pleated dress, and so I thought it might be fun if I record myself making the pattern and eventually like cutting out the fabric and sewing the dress. So this is my first time tackling a pleated dress, and I am using Ankara material. My company Kanu Collection is an African inspired line, and so a lot of stuff that I sew for that is made with Ankara fabric. Okay, so everything I sew for that is made with Ankara fabric, and anything else I make, like what I have on today, you guys will probably see it when I get on the other side, but this dress is a part of my B is for Body line, and so they're separate. B is for Body is like, you know, everyday, ready to wear, and Kanu Collection is African inspired. So that's me, that's my deal. Let's get started. Here's what you're gonna need. Pattern paper from Mood Fabric. They sell it the least expensive anywhere in New York City, and it comes in 10-yard rolls. It's great. Before I found the pattern paper, I used to also use wrapping paper, the back of wrapping paper. You can use anything that is big enough for you to cut pattern pieces out of. So make it happen. Make it happen. Isn't that like what Tim Gunn says or something like that? Like whatever. Like find a way to make it work. You can do it. So going to need fabric. I have no clue how much fabric that we're gonna need. This all totally depends on what your measurements are. Scissors for cutting paper, a separate pair of scissors for cutting your fabric, something to measure, preferably a yardstick, or a numbered cutting mat. You need pins. You're gonna need thread. Also, if you have a sewing gauge, I think it might help make your life a little bit easier. And so that's where we're at. Let's get started. Okay guys, so I learned how to do a pleated skirt from watching this tutorial. I think it's called Sew Into Fashion. I will put the link in the description box. So I'm not going to go into extreme detail on how to make the pleated skirt because this young lady did a very excellent job teaching me how to do it, and so I would like to get her some more views on her tutorial. But anyway, so what she did is she leaves 1.5 inches for zipper, so for you to add the zipper in there. And my mat has numbers on it, but I'm, you know, for this 1/2 inch, just want to make sure I'm accurate with that. Okay, and so from my 1.5 inch mark, I'm going to start that and the 0 line, and then I'm going to measure 4 inches, and then every 4 inches I am going to make a mark. This skirt is going to have 4-inch pleats. Oh, I forgot. Let's get into these measurements. Okay, so the waist is going to be 39 inches, and the length is 24 inches. And so I'm just going to mark 24 inches so I know where to cut the skirt later. And I'm doing all this with the right side up. Oh, so actually I need to mark more than 24. So actually I'm going to mark 25 because I need seam allowance. now that I've marked out my pleats as described, starting from the 1.5 inch line, I'm going to take my fabric, starting from my first 4-inch line, I'm going to take my fabric and fold it over to the 1-inch line. And pin it. And then I'm going to take my next line and bring it over to my next 4-inch line. And I'm going to pin that as well. And as you can already see, it's made a box. We have our first pleat, ladies and gentlemen. It's a go. What I'm doing is just making sure that my pleats are lining up in the middle, in the back, so that when I sew over them, it's not ugly. Nabbit. Yeah, okay. So I'm working backwards from the video. Damn. She's working from the right and I'm working from the left. So this is a great example. Okay. So if you're working from the right, follow her directions exactly. If you're working from the left, like I am, you want to turn your fabric right side down, so you're working on the wrong side of the fabric. This way your pleats are facing the correct way, which means that I now have to remark my pleats again, and that's not that big of a deal, but it's still a waste of time. Now that I flipped my fabric over and corrected my pleats, correcting my markings, I'm going to start over again. So starting again from the 4-inch mark. Moving that over to my 1.5-inch mark. Sheesh. And I'm gonna pin. Then I'm going to take my other 4-inch mark, my next 4-inch mark, and move it over. And there you can see we have our first box. Up to 39 inches, and then I cut over about 1.5 inches to give me a seam allowance on the other side of the skirt to install the zipper. Okay, and so that is what leads me up to this point. We've got a big long, I also cut the length as well. So I got rid of the bottom of the length, and I think I'm actually going to give that to my client as a head wrap. And so I am going to sew across these as pleats, and then I'm going to stop there because this is going to be the part where we make the bodice for the dress. So that is what we're going to need the pattern paper for. The bottom, super easy. We could stop now and actually make this into a skirt if we wanted to. But she asked me for a dress, and that's what we're going to give her. Okay, so we're ready for the next step, and that's to make the bodice. And so I have my pattern paper here and a marker. I forgot to put that on the list. You need a marker, something to draw with, pen, pencil, whatever you got that can make a line. Color pencil, crayon, whatever you can get your hands on. All right, so my client lives in Miami and I'm based out of New York. And so we're not 100% sure on her measurements. So I just discussed it with her. We're going to make a modification to our dress. And so what I'm going to do is incorporate some knit in my pattern in order to make sure it fits, because she needs it for an event, and we just won't have time to ship it back and forth if it doesn't fit her. Okay, so for my pattern, I've decided that what I'm gonna do, I really like how this cuts into the bodice. And so that is how I'm going to have it cut off on the sleeve. And so I asked her what size t-shirt she would wear, and she said that a large is snug and an extra large is comfortable. So I'm taking this extra large shirt. I'm going to use it to make my pattern out of it. And I should be good. I'm not going to add any seam allowance. Well, just a little bit of seam allowance. Because it's going to stretch across the back to fit from what we get in the front. Alright, so I laid this out. I'm going to fold it in half. I don't want to cut this shirt. I actually need it for a different project. So, if it was an older shirt, I actually probably should go to the Goodwill. See if I can find some like old t-shirts for like $1 or something. They're great for patterns. That's a great tip. That's an excellent tip, Brandis. Okay, so I've laid out, I folded my shirt, looks the way that I would like it to look. I don't like to waste any material. I actually took a pledge when I graduated college to be green in my life and my business. And I took it seriously. Okay, so just gonna trace this out just a little tiny bit bigger than it is. off before I was almost done, and what I was explaining was that I felt like I cut my sleeve a little bit too long, but when I cut it out, since I already added a seam allowance, I just lined it up to make sure that it fits exactly, and I cut it out on the same angle, and now I'm ready to go. The only thing I need to do is measure the length of the bodice against the measurement of my client from what she gave me for her waist. Obviously, I'm going to be cutting a crap ton of this off, probably like half of it. I'm going to just tweak this to her measurements. Then I am going to be back once I cut it out, you know, get ready to trace it out and cut it out on the fabric. I don't know if anybody wants to see that, but I guess for a super new beginner, I'll show you the sped up version of that. Okay guys, so I'm back after several delays, but we don't ever give up, and we have a deadline. I promised my client, I promised my client I would have her dress in the mail this week, and it's Friday, so this week is over at 5 p.m. Actually, before that, you have to be in line at the post office. So what I've done, we decided to make some alterations to the sleeves. I mean, I couldn't tell you guys what is going on over here. My computer crashed. My serger stopped working. But whatever. One monkey don't stop no show, and neither do two. So what we decided is that we're going to do a cape sleeve on this dress, which I'm really excited about. I think it's going to be beautiful. And so I personally think it looks more professional when you do your hems before you assemble the pieces. That way the hem is going into the seam. And for me, I just find that that looks a little more professional. And so what I've gone ahead is hem the sleeves, and then I sewed the top of the sleeve, excuse me, where, you know, right here, this part, the shoulder. Haha, I sewed the shoulder of the sleeve together. And so what I'm going to do now is take my bodice with the right side facing in, so it's inside out, and I'm going to take my sleeve, flip it over on the right side. I'll be damned. Alright, it's okay, because you can see this is where my serger broke. Like, part of this is serged, messed up, and then the other part of it has a zigzag stitch. And instead of breaking the seam open, because I know this is a little big anyway, plus we have a stretch, I'm just going to cut this. I wouldn't advise doing this if you don't think you have any wiggle room. Like, I'm just done with myself right now. It's all good. The great thing about sewing is that if you make a mistake, you can usually fix it. Except with cutting. You can't... Well, if you cut bigger, you can fix that. But if you cut smaller, you're out of gas. Unless you bought extra fabric. So if you're like making your own patterns, I would highly suggest like making it on the paper first. And sometimes, oops, you guys don't want to see my shoulder that whole time. Sorry, my bad. We're just going to pin the right sides together of the sleeve. I'm going to pin the other side. Lord, I hope this is right. Something is making me feel like it's not. I'm going to work it out. Okay. Whew. I'm just going to attach one and then we'll come back. Okay, here's the moment of truth, you guys. The moment of truth. I'm going to flip this inside out. It worked. Woo! Y'all, it worked. Okay. It worked. It worked. I was really questioning myself. Oh, I'm going to have to get close in there with some scissors and trim that. Damn. Whatever, it worked. Okay. We put the other sleeve on. Hey, hey. We're cooking with gas today. Hey, hey, hey. Y'all have to ignore me. So I'm back. I have both of my sleeves attached. This is the moment of truth. Oh, let me take my pins out. I had pinned the sleeves together just to make it a little easier for myself when I was struggling to figure out how to attach these sleeves. All right. So our bodice is completely done. Ta-da! Oh, you can't really see, huh? Ta-da! All right, so I have the skirt part. No, this is important. Okay, so I'm just gonna make sure that I mark the middle of the front of my skirt. So I just want to make sure that we're getting this on there nice and right. So I just like folded it in half with the back seam. It's folded in half. There's my inseam. And here's my front with the pin in it. Alright, so once I turn my skirt the other way with the seam in the back, now I know exactly where the front of my skirt is, okay? So I have my skirt inside out, and my shirt, the top is right side out. And what I'm going to do is with, the front facing the front. This way we're making sure we're sewing with right sides together. I'm going to throw my top inside the skirt. Oh, you can't really see, but I'm putting them inside each other. I don't know why I'm working on this side today. I'm actually finding it easier. I have to take less freaking steps. And you know what? I should mark the other sections of the skirt. So you see where I've marked the center? Now I'm going to take my skirt and I'm also going to mark where the center is on the sides so that I'm attaching my bodice evenly. And this is the same thing where if you're sewing with patterns, this is exactly what a notch is for, to make sure that you're lining up everything symmetrically. So our pins, since we made this pattern, our pins are acting as the notches. Just a little tidbit for you. My bodice to the skirt, and now we have a dress, y'all. Let's turn it inside out and see what we got. I'm really excited about this. Oh wow, guys, this is beautiful. I'm gonna hang it up. So what I'm gonna do, I have this beautiful collar. What I really love about it is that it has moonstone in it. I'm kind of really into crystals. I have already put my applique where I want it, and now I'm just gonna pin it in place. Now that I have this pinned in place, I'm going to take this off of here and I'm going to hand stitch this. It is probably going to take me like an hour or more. I wanted to get this in the mail today. Now that I'm realizing that I'm definitely going to add this, I think I'm going to have to get it in the mail tomorrow. But that's, you know, I will be done with this tonight though. Absolutely. Yay! And there we have it, the finished product. My client was so beautiful in her dress. She was glowing and beaming. She said she kept getting compliments every time and everywhere that she wears it. I'm so proud of myself. I finally finished it. If you're interested in ordering a custom dress, you can visit kanumeanslove.com. Thank you guys so much for watching this DIY. Please help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you later. Hey, you're still here? Feel free to go ahead and watch any of my other videos.